Hi, Aries Sun and Rising. Welcome to your April 2025 Astro Update. It's Rena here, and I'm recording this in March, early March, so it's hard to pretend that all these things in March have happened because March is a pivotal month as well. So if you haven't listened to my March report for you, please do, because you are definitely featured in March. Not only do we go into Aries season in March, but we also have the last eclipse in Aries in the cycle that has been ongoing for the past couple of years. So do check that out, because April begins on the heels of that solar eclipse in your sign at 9 degrees of Aries. And the reverberations of that certainly could be felt in, going into April and beyond that. And on the 7th of the month, Mercury turns direct at 26 degrees of Pisces. So another thing that happened in March is that both Venus and Mercury went retrograde, and both at a degree very close to the solar eclipse in your sign on the 29th. Mercury on the 15th of March went retrograde at 9 degrees of Aries, just like the eclipse. And on the 1st of the month, Venus went retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries. So here we have the first station direct with Mercury, 26 degrees of Pisces. And it's important to note that both of these inner planets that went direct went direct. First of all, they went retrograde at similar degrees, and they went direct at similar degrees, but not only to each other, but to the lunar eclipse in Pisces that occurred last September. So I want you to think about last September. This was on September 17th, the official date, but you could think about the whole month of September for you, maybe October and November, and what kind of themes emerged then. Also, where is, for Aries Sun and Rising, this is 12th house kinds of stuff. So this may be more muted with the Pisces energy, but it can still have, on a subconscious level, it can have a lot of impact. It can, maybe supernatural occurrences. By the way, this is a general forecast, so all of these transits may not be falling in the houses that they say that I say they will, because of your particular chart. And if you're listening for Aries Sun, please keep in mind that you have a natal chart, and the natal chart is what is usually used, as far as I know, for predictive purposes, if you get a private reading, for instance. So you want to know that that's based on your rising sign. So that can be that probably will be totally different than this report. So anyway, Mercury goes direct in that 12th house on the 7th, and this is really good for both spiritual, like intuitive reasons, and also the dream state, but also for any kind of artistic projects, because Neptune rules the 12th house and it's very imaginative. On the 12th, we have a full moon at 23 degrees of Libra, your opposite sign, the one that you've been having the eclipses with. And Venus goes direct at 24 degrees of Pisces. Venus is the ruler of Libra, by the way, so I find that very interesting. So you have Venus going direct in your 12th, and the full moon in Libra. Now, that is very interesting for Aries people because, first of all, the full moon falls in your seventh house of committed partnerships, the house that Libra rules in astrology. So that alone, that could bring something to the surface in terms of relationships. And I will say, too, that even though Venus is direct, this could also bring out exes. Mercury is because Venus, even though it's direct, it's still in its shadow period. And this is when a planet goes direct. It's very at the beginning. It's just very powerful there. So there could be something with love and relationships that is big time with these transits on the same day, no less. And actually, I was even looking at the time that they're happening. The full moon is happening before the Venus direct, but they're both in my time zone. They're both at night. For some of you, actually, the full moon is going to occur on the 13th, so I should include that, the 12th and the 13th, and the Venus direct. But yeah, so that's the full moon will be in your 7th, and Venus direct will be in your 12th. Now, the reason I'm so interested in that is the 12th house can be past lives, and Venus there can be the soulmate. So if you have been dealing with someone, I would say this is interesting. Usually I'll say if Venus retrogrades, that it means you might hear from an old lover. Well, I think that when it's in the 12th house, you might hear from an old lover like from 500 years ago. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how that will shake out if you have two things going on at once and you have to kind of end one to start another, because the full moon can bring things to completion, endings. But if, in some cases, especially since Aries is such an independent sign, you may kind of like, what would I say? I want to say the word sacrifice, but that's not the word I'm looking for. What's that word? Surrender. Surrender to love. Meaning that, you would rather be with this person forever than to lose the relationship because you're afraid of losing your freedom, that kind of thing. On the 16th, Mercury goes back into Aries. And this is very interesting because we're seeing so much fiery energy, but we are seeing water too, and even earth with the Taurus coming in. But I just feel like I already had in my mind that I was going to call this reclaiming your fire, because, I'm a sun in Sagittarius, and I do think astrologers they exaggerate certain things concerning when we're in a season like Pisces and it's water, because they say that water puts out fire, and that's true. You could also say fire creates steam with water. And so there's like this kind of antagonism there sometimes, but there's also harmony if you are an Aries and you have a lot of inner planets in earth and or water, because that will harmonize with the water energy like Pisces. So when an astrologer says, oh, this squares off to your sign, or this forms, this isn't compatible with it, that's only looking at that particular influence with the sun. It's not looking at whether maybe your moon is in water and it's like trining it. And, the reason that people get obsessed with the sun is because it is overall the most important influence of the planets, but by no means is it the end all be all, because there are, if you have a preponderance of earth and or water, it is going to be a major influence, those other planets. So everything is relatively true, let's just say. So Mercury goes back into your sign, and it's like you find your voice again. You're able to communicate who you are in the best way. Now, that doesn't mean that when Mercury's in Pisces that it's bad. It means that it is less direct. Pisces is indirect. Neptune is indirect. 12th house is indirect and indistinct. And now we're talking about first house energy. And that represents the self. And it also, Mercury really is an important planet. I mean, it represents how we think, and that's going to inform how we operate. And speaking of that, the very next day on the 17th, Mars goes back into Leo. Now that's where Mars began its retrograde. So you can see that Mars is strengthening, and it is advancing towards the degree that it retrograded, and that's when it comes out of its shadow. Now, that's not going to occur until early May, but we're getting there, and guess what? You're ruled by Mars. So this is highly important for you, but it's also going back into Leo, and Leo is a fire house, and it trines the sun and ascendant in Aries. So this is highly favorable. The 5th house is fun, literally. It's the house of the things you do as hobbies, as pastimes, sporting events, parties, everything, entertainment, plays, concerts, that kind of thing. Leo is such an expressive sign. It's creative. This is a house of love and creativity. So you're getting your mojo back, so to speak, because Mars is your ruler and it's going into a firehouse. And that is a great thing for you because you love to have fun, Aries. You'd rather have fun than be stuck at home. 4th house is the home base. You know what I mean? So this brings you back into your element, which is, I was going to say being a horn dog, because Mars can be the libido and the 5th house can be recreational sex. So there you go. Leaving it right there. But yeah, I mean, you might be actively dating. Maybe you were waylaid by something, and that was family oriented, domestically oriented, and now you're ready to play again. And on the 19th, Sun goes into Taurus, and and also I just want to say with the 5th house, it's also creativity. So you may feel an urge to not only merge, but also to just create. And this can be your happy place. On the 19th, the Sun goes into Taurus, and this is the area of finance, 2nd house. So there's going to be some interest and focus in this area. And the new moon is going to fall here on the 27th at 7 degrees of Taurus. So there is going, developments in your earning capacity, how you're earning money, whatever, your finances, your possessions. And on the 30th, Venus goes back into Aries. So now you have Venus again in that 1st house. So that's really good when we're in Taurus season, that you have Venus, which rules Taurus, in your 1st house, because that can attract all those wonderful things to you. And, the word attractive, we think of a person who is attractive, we think of as good looking. But being attractive is being magnetic, and Venus is magnetic. So that might even help your finances in some way. Certainly, if you're looking for work, having Venus in the first house can leave a favorable first impression or first date. And certainly with Mars in the fifth house, you may have a sense of urgency about wanting to date for some reason. Don't know why. You got like a lot of other stuff going on, but maybe if your relationship has run its course with the full moon in the seventh house, you may be ready to go back at it. If any sign I can think of would end a relationship, even a long-term relationship, and then just start dating again, it would be Aries, because Aries does not look back. Aries is forward-looking, and you are interested in the future, not the past. So that's what I have for you, Aries. I hope that this resonated. If you'd like a private reading from me, I'm promoting my package deals because really, not only because they're a good deal in terms of the money that you save. I don't think Aries people care too much about, sales. You're pretty free spending overall, but they are. But they also go together. So one of probably my most popular package deal is my deep dive, which is an hour of natal chart analysis and an hour of transits for the next 12 months for a special price. And if you like the tarot, I also have those two readings plus a full length tarot reading called The Whole Enchilada. I have another package deal with a chart reading in the tarot called Combo Platter. And my individual readings, those readings can be ordered individually. And I also have like a life path, career type of reading. If you are kind of stuck on what you want to do in life, I can look at the chart and see what I see in your chart. And I do chart readings for children, not, predictive though, but like looking at personality traits. This can be insightful if you find that your child, I don't like to use the word difficult, but they are hard for you to understand. Maybe you feel like you don't have the same personality as them and you want to accommodate them in the best way possible. I can look to see what they have going on. I have love readings. Please click the link below if you'd like more information on any of these readings, and have a great month. Bye.